Hey everybody, and welcome to Rock Around the Ring. I am Kid Cadet, once again joined by my main man, Milo Beasley. How you doing, Milo?
I am good, and I'm happy to be back. Hopefully, Danica's internet gets back up to snuff soon, and
Yes.
she's able to join. Well, technical difficulties, but hey, I'm back.
When we appreciate you being back. And without any further ado, Milo, I say let's bring out our guest. He is the one and only Rhino.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you, Rhino?
Great intro, by the way.
Thanks. I love that we get to watch the sunset with you. So this is going to be very fun.
Yeah, I'm on my boat right now trying to work on that. And, mosquitoes are just now coming out. So it'll be fun.
It's that time of night. We'll pretend to swap mosquitoes with you too. But, all right, so let's get right into it. I wanted to talk about one of my favorite pay-per-views that I have seen recently, and it was, of course, Talk and Shop-A-Mania. So I wanted to know what it was like wrestling during Talk and Shop. How did you get involved, and what has it been like wrestling during these crazy moments that we've been having?
Wrestling has been around for, forever, it seems like. And, the fans really need, entertainment and, whether it's musical or something. And, when you're wrestling outside and now they're starting to let some fans outside, and which is always nice. But, it's still I'm still getting used to wrestling with no fans. But like I said, they're starting to let some fans. And if you're outside and social distancing, and, it's nice to see the fans back again.
Definitely.
But it is a little crazy, though.
I can't even imagine, but I have to say that was such a fun pay-per-view, and it was one of those things, getting to watch it kind of takes you out of reality, and that you're being given this treat, and these people are putting on this show for everybody, and practicing safe protocols, so eventually, like you said, more and more wrestling fans can be there live to watch you guys. So
Right.
Go ahead, Milo.
Along the lines of the Talk and Shop Mania, when you got the layout for it, when you found out what it was and stuff like that, were you like, this is either going to be the best thing or the worst thing?
That's what I usually think right before all my matches. This is going to be the best thing or the worst thing. So I've rolled the dice, and I've come out on top most of the time, as far as being at the best thing. With Talking Shop, it was going to be entertainment and something special, something for the fans that can throw reality off, to the side and just be entertained. And that's what it was. And I think we hit a home run with it. I was just like, hey, happy to be part of it. Whatever I can do, I'll drive down to Atlanta. What time do you want me there? And basically that's that. So I knew it was going to be full of shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
And then speaking of shenanigans, this is one of those real life situations where I actually watched ECW One Night Stand a couple weeks ago. It's not one of those things that I'm. Hey, so I watched One Night Stand a couple. So I actually did. And man, can you tell us what it was like being able to be in front of that ECW fan base again for the first time after several years?
It was fun. The ECW fans are crazy. The fans, I still get ECW chants, which it's really cool, and I really love it. And when you're overseas in parts of the world, you'd never expect to hear an ECW chant, and you hear it, and it's rewarding. But it was crazy though. It was so intense. The adrenaline, everybody's adrenaline was in overdrive. The fans, the guys and girls that were performing and wrestling. So it was definitely a thrill. And also in NXT, I felt the same thing, and there's a lot of crowds I would wrestle in front of, in the bigger arenas. Like when I went back to WWE, when I was in the Royal Rumble with, I was in the ring with, I forget, I'm drawing a blank, but we were in Philly, and the crowd was just insane. And, and you kind of it's hard to capture that intensity in such a large arena. but you can do it, and it was pretty special then too. So, but yeah.
Well, kind of to follow up with that, and you mentioned that you felt that energy during NXT. What do you almost feel like is missing during today's landscape that actually creates that cult-like status that ECW had?
I think it's, well, the times are different, you know. I think that is still out there, like with Impact Wrestling. I notice we're pushing the envelope a lot. Not in a way where it's hurtful or harmful, but it's entertaining. Not only for, it's kind of like, I would say, a cartoon like SpongeBob SquarePants, where kids can watch, but there's also adult humor that you get in there, you know.
Yeah.
So Impact is still, you know, gearing for kids, but also has that adult humor, and they're doing it in a tasteful way. And you know, it has a little bit of ECW, because Scott was, you know, he was traveling with ECW. He'd go on the road a lot with myself, and he watched Paul and studied Paul, and, you know, with other people in the wrestling world. But we also have Don Callis, which is there, and Tommy Dreamer. So that's a really good ECW influence on that product, and it's a fun product to be part of. So
Awesome.
What would you say was your best piece and possibly worst piece of advice when you were starting your career?
The best piece of advice is a gentleman by the name of Mighty Igor. Look him up. He was very big, especially in South Africa, but he was from Dearborn, and he did a Polish character. He was a Polish guy, but he had a manager that, you know, he didn't. Actually, it was Paul Heyman's favorite wrestler growing up as a kid. Yeah, I didn't know that until I, you know, started working with Paul, and Igor came up, and, you know, in a conversation, and he's like, that was my favorite wrestler. If he wants a job with ECW, I'll fit him in somehow. But he just got over everywhere he went. And he told me, you know, picture your career like a big black chalkboard, and you have a tiny bit figured out, and you've got all this to go. Basically, the point is you're never going to stop learning. Because if you think you learned it all, that's when you stop growing as a talent. And because the business always changes too, you know, not in a major way. Sometimes it does, but it's a wheel, and you're trying to improve that wheel. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely.
That is, yeah.
Ooh. I'm calling my buddy's dog. I got dogs sitting out here. Yeah, Blue, come on. Get on, Blue. You want to see Blue?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Beautiful.
Oh my God. We always love when animals come and join the show.
Yeah. And then I was working on my motor. It's a Flathead 6 Chrysler, and putting new wires and plugs, and yeah. And then I don't know if you can see my marina over there.
It's beautiful.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I'm at my neighbor's marina right now. They had to dunk it in by hoist. It's a 1957 Lyman, all wood. Yeah, this one.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So wait, what can you actually tell us about Big Daddy's Boatyard? And was this always a dream of yours to own?
Well, I kind of fell into it. I sold my house in 2018, and I'm religious, and I believe in, you know, there's a direction, and sometimes things might not work out, but there's a plan. You don't know, but you'll figure it out. But I sold my house, and then I stayed on. I have a 35-foot Chris Craft double cabin, so I stayed on that for the summer. But I was also with WWE, so it was nice because you're only home 2.5 days out of the year, or out of the week. So it's just like an extended weekend on the boat. So I got used to hanging around at the marina, and it was Gibraltar Boatyard. And I started talking to Jack and how he got started, how he added on to the marina and all that. So, and then he also, in a conversation, because I'd have a lot of conversations, he's going to be 90 next year. But he told me how he went sailing for like 5 weeks, the Great Lakes. And I thought to myself, well, I was never able to financially do that with wrestling, so maybe I better buy a marina, and then I can do that. Right? Really striking out at this wrestling thing to be able to take 5 weeks and just go sailing, so or cruising the Great Lakes. So I Googled marinas for sale, and there was one about 20 minutes from where I was at on Lake Erie, and I ended up purchasing it, and it needed a lot of work, and we're adding to it every year, and we're making a lot of improvements. So we're almost full. So I started at 8 boats, and we're almost at capacity at 84. So there's a house on the property too. So I redid that, and so I'm living there. So it's 2 birds with 1 stone I killed. So yeah, so I got
That's
a house.
awesome.
Never redo a house. Everybody's told me that. Don't remodel a house. I mean, if you got to replace when you're painting and trim and the kitchen, and it was terrible. Yeah. So
when did you get into boating?
Oh, when we were, when we grew up, we didn't have, my dad was always into boating. He got into boating in 1959. He bought an old Century speedboat, and he was always into boating. And we never really had a lot of money, but he always upgraded, and we always had wooden boats, and we'd work on them and stuff. And we never went on vacation. That was kind of like the vacation.
Oh.
And it was my whole life I was boating. So my brothers and I, and we just picked it up. And my ex-wife, she was from Germany. She never understood the passion for boating because she never grew up with boats and being around the marina. And and it's funny because when we were kids, everybody had a captain's hat and a pipe. And now that I'm that age, I'm thinking about taking up smoking a pipe.
There you go.
And I know tobacco is bad for you, but I feel like I'm obligated to, show these kids of tomorrow,
Sure.
walking around the marina with a pipe. Kind of maybe like a Hugh Hefner style too, We'll work with it.
So are we gonna see Captain Rhino on a future Talking Shop Mania?
Maybe. I like it.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Kind of going back to what you were saying before about like growing up, and I feel like Detroit has a lot of culture, and they're especially known for breaking a lot of musicians. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to know, what was it like growing up in Detroit in, I guess, the 80s, and what did you do in order to stay out of trouble?
Well, we weren't successful on staying out of trouble.
Oh, okay. So what kind of trouble did you get into? I guess that's the better question.
We're actually pretty good kids. And I hear, my friends, and, they're pulling their hair out, and, my kid's doing this and my kid's doing that. It's like, they're on the right track. It's just kids are going to get into mischief. And, down at the marina, I see a bunch of kids running around trying to catch snakes and that stuff. And it's kind of cool because, me personally, I'm afraid of snakes and mice, but they can go catch them all they want. But, and they're, fishing off the docks, and, and the parents keep an eye on them so they're not tossing rocks and, hitting boats and trying to skip rocks and stuff. But, so it's one of those things where we just got into the, normal, kids mischief. And, but growing up in Detroit, Motown music was popular all over the world. And I just loved it. Still to this day, I know you guys probably know who Vic Joseph is. He works with WWE, and he's a good friend of mine. And every once in a while he'll go, "Oh yeah, did you hear the worst genre of music was Motown?" And I'll buy into it for a second, and I'll get mad, and I'll yell at him. I'm like, well, what piece of crap, survey was that? And obviously it was ran by a bunch of crackheads because they don't know good music.
Right?
And then I don't get hot about much, but I start to get hot, and I see them start to grin, and I'm like, you got me again. Like every 6 months, he'll get me. And, so, but because we would travel on the road, and I'd always put on Motown, and just, warms your soul, man. Just makes you just want to get up and dance, even though I don't dance, but it could make me dance.
Do you have a favorite Motown artist or group?
Well, Temptations probably are one of the best. I mean, there's so many. The Four Tops, you just put on Marvin Gaye. Oh, Jesus. Now I'm wanting to turn on Motown right now.
I know. Milo
right?
and I can sing some sugar pie, honey.
Yeah.
You
Smokey, a lot of people don't know, but Smokey, he wrote like most of the hits for the Temptations and all that. Yeah. And then he was
Definitely.
obviously a recording artist himself and very successful at that. And I think he still does shows here and there just for special
Wow.
occasions. Not that
And
he needs the money, but just to perform. I'd love to go and see him.
and
You know,
also
so,
the show Smokey Robinson's Cafe, which I think
yeah,
was on Broadway for a long
yeah,
time. That
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's just Tears of a Clown. Oh, that just gets me going right now.
Tears of cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
So,
And it's good that the next generation is listening to that music because I grew up
Oh
on
yeah.
it. You know, that and Elvis. So,
Oh, I can't. I actually when I was gosh, maybe 15 years ago, when I was a little kiddo, a smaller cadet,
yeah.
I went to a hologram Elvis show, which was the strangest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, because I feel like it was a little bit before its time, but you know,
Yeah.
I got to see Elvis, so
Right.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that's cool though. Have you ever been to Graceland?
I have not. Have you,
I'll tell you a
Milo?
little story. Yeah, in '99. But when I was a kid, I never liked heel wrestlers, and then Honky Tonk Man came out, and I didn't like him, but they were asking other wrestlers what they wanted for Christmas, and Honky Tonk said Graceland. And I'll never forget. I go, Ma, what's Graceland? She was in the kitchen. She goes, that's Elvis's house. And at that point, I go, wow, not only is he an impersonator, but he wants his house, because, there was a lot of Elvis impersonators back in the 80s and, 90s and still are. But, that was a big, big thing, back then. And I totally popped as a 12-year-old kid. And I'm like, this is great. This is the first deal I'll ever like, and
Right.
then I finally was able to meet him and we became friends, on shows, when we talk and stuff. And, he always, when he calls me by Rhino, I just pop, I mark out inside, so.
Aw, that's awesome.
Man knows who I am. That's great. So.
Did you ever wrestle Belvis Wesley in ECW? Did you ever get that chance?
No, but yeah, he was great. I loved him, man. Yeah, we've worked, so many shows, and I mean, every weekend he was on the shows, and when he did that character, I was kind of marking out too. Yeah. Yeah.
So another shout out I have to give. I've never seen him live yet. Clownvis. There is a clown Elvis named Clownvis, and he's pretty damn good. So shout out to you, Clownvis. I'm sure you're not watching, but
I'm gonna have to go look him up.
Oh yeah. I'll remind you.
Right.
What's that face, Milo?
He's not getting it,
Yeah, I mean the clowns thing is, hey. So, but speaking about clowns, you were in a movie, Death from Above.
Right.
Are you into horror movies, and what is your favorite?
Oh, geez. I wasn't into horror movies for a long time, just because they scared me. Not really scared me, but when I was a kid, I seen it had to come on regular TV. But I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was the first one, and they say it's based on a true story and all that, and I was just like just terrified of it, and for some reason, we watched the Friday the 13th and all that, Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre just terrified me. But so, as a teen and, while going into my adulthood, Blue, come here.
Hey, Boo. Hey,
Yeah.
Boo.
No. So, I kind of got away from that, and everything was wrestling, and, and I wasn't really a big action, guy.
Right.
I believe it or not, don't laugh, but, romantic comedies, romantic, what else? Documentaries, I find really cool.
Absolutely.
I watch History Channel a lot. But as far as I started to get into watching horror films, probably 06, and then it's actually really grown on me, and I really I love them now. But to answer your question, I'd say the first Halloween. I love the Rob Zombies. I love all the Halloweens except I watched 3. Didn't really get it, but because Michael Myers wasn't in there. But I need some Michael Myers in my Halloween. So
absolutely, huge
plus,
Michael Myers fan over here.
What's that?
A huge Michael Myers fan over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then so at the marina, I'm gonna put up like Halloween decorations and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, because Milo wrestles as Michael Myers, and he does a fantastic, scary job. So, well done, Milo. Okay, I'm actually going to take a question from one of your fans. They want to know, what is the one food you absolutely love the most to eat, and why?
Omelets. I love omelets. Yeah, egg white omelet. I could eat breakfast. So, I mean, usually in the morning I'll have 6 egg whites with some cayenne pepper, I think it's called, or red pepper, and then turmeric. Sprinkle some of that on, a little bit of hot sauce, because all that stuff's really good for you. Some spinach, and then I'll have avocado. So, and then coffee, and then I have Crystal Light too. So, I love me Crystal Light.
Me too. What's your go-to flavor?
It's strawberry lemonade.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's.
When I go to the grocery store, I just do this with the shelf.
I'm a big orange vanilla guy.
Really?
Yeah, because it tastes like liquid creamsicle.
Really? I'm gonna try that.
So, yeah.
I got the little spray bottle. You spray in there.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I get.
Yep.
They're always on sale, so I have to get it.
Delicious. All right, so we're gonna ask you another question or two, and then we're gonna play a game, Rhino. So,
stay
Boo.
Don't click off.
Hey, Boo. Stay put, Boo.
We had another comment where somebody in the chat said that they watched you when they were little. Do you get that a lot? And does it make you feel, especially from adults, like, hey, I watched you when I was a kid?
Yeah. Well, what's great is when a guy comes up to you and he goes, I watched you as a kid. I go, really? I go, how old are you? And they're like, 49. And I don't have the heart to tell them that I'm only 44. So the math is a little off. I like to think I was a mathlete back in high school. I did right in pre-algebra. I'm very proud of that. And only reason why I had that is because it was 1989, 1990. My brother Ron, because back then you only had to have 2 years of math, whatever type, whether it was basic math or advanced. So he was in my class. He was a senior. I was a freshman. And that's 89, 90, Mr. Perfect and all these guys. And I'd go up there and I would just do like all my homework so I could just brag to him how I have a better grade. And then I'd be at the board doing the problem. And then I'd turn around, I'd look at him and I'd go, absolutely perfect. And Mrs. Conway, she was our algebra teacher. She'd go, Terry, sit down. I'd be like, what? It is. Is it right? Yes, it is. So, but yeah.
Do you have a favorite type of math? Because I cannot stand calculus. I just never computed.
Look at Mrs. Smarty Pants here. I said pre-algebra. We never.
Oh, algebra.
A little algebra. I told my buddy that. He's like, yeah, we did that in elementary school. I'm like, oh, easy.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s and late 80s, early 90s, we didn't go too high in math. Just those average folks, So,
no.
I usually like the 2 + 2. I got that 5. Bingo. Nailed it.
So smart. Yes. All right. Rhino math. All right. All right. So obviously you've been featured in quite a few video games. So have you ever played any of the games that you've been featured in, or do you like video gaming in general?
No, I like kind of, tinkering on boats and stuff and the whole, business part and, numbers have always, floated through my mind in a weird way. So I'm always adding receipts and stuff. And still to this day, I know, there's a better system, but I collect receipts and add them up at the end of the year or maybe every quarter when I do my taxes and stuff. And I get all my taxes ready. So, but as far as your question with video games, I don't do that because I don't find any interest, and I can see how they're people are drawn to them, but I'm just drawn to weird stuff like that. You know?
Fair.
Right?
So this question's from Jeffrey. They want to know who would be on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, and I know that's so hard to.
Yeah, it is.
That's impossible.
The first three would be me, myself, and I.
Okay, we got 3. So there's 2 more spots.
And Terry Richards. I heard he was a great up and coming wrestler back in the day. That was my first wrestling name. So.
Nice.
Yeah. I'd probably have to go with a kid, Piper Honky Tonk Man, because he was the first, heel. Andre, and either Hogan or Macho Man. Yeah, so it's tough. It's a real tough question. I've been getting that question a lot more. So I should sit down and iron out 4.
I think there needs to be different Mount Rushmores, for like ECW, Impact. Like it's too hard. It's too hard.
We could do the what is it? The Beatles album, Abbey Road.
Mm-hmm.
We could do an Abbey Road album, because you got 4. Well, no, Mount Rushmore, you got 4. See, that was like I said, 2 + 2 = 5. If we did my math, we have 1 more. I know it's 4, by the way. People are probably going, he really thinks it's 5.
What about Japanese wrestling influences? I love Japanese wrestling.
Japanese.
And what would you say? Who are your influences? And what would you say are the biggest differences in wrestling in Japan and then wrestling here in the States?
Well, wrestling, Japanese wrestling was always my. I kind of modeled my, my style after a little bit of Japanese wrestling too. Just that kind of like, I think they call it strong style. Who would be some of my influences? I mean, I just watched them all, I didn't have one person. I just watched a bunch of tapes, usually early 90s, mid 90s, Japanese. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
I just always enjoy wrestling over there. I've wrestled for New Japan and Noah, which I always had a goal to wrestle for All Japan. So just to have that part of my career, because I've wrestled for. Someone posted it, pictures of, I don't know who it was, but they put me every promotion I wrestled for. Oh, okay. And sometimes you really don't sit down and think about it, but like EMLL. In Mexico, I've wrestled like NXT, Ring of Honor, WWE. Well, in WWF when it was WWF too, ECW. I don't know if they had WCW because I was just down there doing TVs.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah, Ring of Honor, and it was like I sat back and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, to see that I've wrestled in, maybe thousands of independent wrestling promotions too.
Wow.
So, and I love indies just because it's an intimate setting, and I love the gimmick table, by the way.
Heck yeah.
Here's the thing with the gimmick table. One, it's a business, but you get to interact with fans, and I like to joke around, and and I like to communicate with people and the fans, because you can learn a lot off the fans. And sometimes I'll mess with them. When the best thing I love to do when I'm getting ready to, go back to the locker room or something, or leave, I'll say something totally off the wall, like, like glass half full or glass half empty, the same thing, I'll butcher it. I'll say glass half full or glass full, same damn thing. And then I'll walk away, right? And then I can't tell all my secrets, but then they're like, wait, what did he say? Wait, no, that's not right. Like, and then it just messes with their mind. And it's like, so like I'll just do shit like that. And yeah, it's hilarious.
Awesome.
And you see them when you say that, they're trying to dial it in, but you leave. You don't give them an opportunity to go, wait, what huh? So
that's awesome.
That is great.
Okay, so we're going to play a game right now.
Nice.
Okay, so this game is called agoraphobic. And you have to pick which between these two you would be more afraid to do. Okay?
Oh, swimming with sharks.
So between bungee jumping or swimming with sharks, you're going to choose, you'd be more afraid to swim with sharks?
Yeah.
Any reason why?
Yeah, because the reason why I stay in the Michigan, because it's the greatest state in the country. I love all the states, but we have fresh water where there's no sharks, and sharks can eat you.
They can, like an omelet. Right. All right. Milo, here's the next one.
Would you rather not wrestle Kurt Angle in a 60-minute Iron Man match or Cactus Jack in an Extreme Rules match? Which would you be more afraid of?
Kurt Angle. Even though we are BFFs, I would not want to wrestle him for 60 minutes.
That's the definition of blown up.
Yeah, right?
Like, grab a hold, kid. Let's take it down.
All right, here's the next one. Okay, would you rather not deal with an infestation of rats or an infestation of spiders?
Rats.
Rats. I know you mentioned that earlier, so it's kind of full circle. All right, here's the next one.
All right. Would you rather not have another Canadian Death Tour with Edge and Christian or do a series of outdoor shows in a heat wave?
Oh, I'd do the heat wave for sure. Yeah.
I'm sure if we had a couple hours, you could tell us more stories about this death tour with Edge and Christian. But
crazy. It was crazy.
I can't even imagine. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather not be in a haunted house by yourself or be in the middle of the woods by yourself?
I would not want to be in a haunted house because I watch all that stuff and I'm just freaked out by it. The woods, I've been watching that show Mountain Men. And, lately I'll watch these shows and it's like, that seems like a good idea. Maybe I should, just go live in the woods. So, and then I'd probably get bored after about 5-10 minutes. Be like, I'm done. Yeah.
Going back to the marina. All right. Here's the next one.
All right. Would you rather not be covered in worms from the boogeyman or get a tooth pulled by Dr. Isaac Yankum?
Yeah, the boogeyman. Worms. Oh, yeah.
Even as a fisherman?
Oh, I don't even fish.
Okay.
I just go boating.
Okay.
You know what? I just say, hey, ladies, want to go boating? They're like, yeah. I don't want to go fishing. No, I'm kidding. I don't go boating that much. It's funny. I've only been on the water 3 times this year. So.
Well, you're a busy man. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather not be chased by a boulder a la Indiana Jones, or would you rather not be buried alive?
Yeah, I'd rather not be buried alive. Yeah. That's kind of, ugh.
Yeah. I'll agree.
Actually, back in the day, I heard they used to, because they would start burying people, and then they would put bells and stuff in case, because look that up.
Yeah, in case they were still alive by accident, you pull in the bell. Yeah, all right. All right. Fun facts, folks. Fun facts. All right, here's the next one.
All right, would you rather not wrestle barefoot on Legos or go through a table on fire?
Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to agree with you.
Yeah, not cute. All right, and here I think is the last one. Would you rather not be trapped in an elevator with the Big Show, or would you rather not be trapped in a walk-in freezer with Heath Slater, aka Sting? We love Sting.
I'd rather not be trapped with Slater. I spent enough time on the road with him.
I'm sure. All right. Well, so we know that you want to continue working on your boat, Rhino, so we're going to let you go. But before we do you have any final thoughts you want to leave us with here today?
No, I just I appreciate the time, and sorry I was a little late. Yeah, just kind of, I get wrapped up into this boat stuff and kind of forget. But actually, you got to see the sunset with me.
I know. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really nice and peaceful. So unless I see a snake, then I'm thinking about putting a for sale sign in front.
Okay,
snakes, we gotta go.
Oh man. Well,
Right.
Rhino,
Is that the next movie, Snakes on a Boat?
Oh no, actually, yeah. This one guy actually said there was a snake that he went down in the engine compartment and it was wrapped up down there because it was nice and warm, and he just seen it and grabbed it. He said he threw it in the cooler and then until he got back to the land and threw it on land. And I'm like, or maybe he threw it in the cooler so his wife wouldn't see it or something, if you never want to go on the boat. And then I'm like, man, you missed a perfect opportunity. You let her see it. She'll never want to go on the boat. Then you just bring girlfriends. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
all right. Well, on that note, guys, we will be back in 2 weeks on October 5th, and we will see you real soon. Once again, Rhino, thank you so much. And Milo, thank you for joining me tonight, too. We will see you guys real soon. Be well, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.